Listen to these beautiful birds. I'm on a rail trail in the springtime in central New York, upstate we call it, with dogs and just blossoming nature. And I'm wearing my not very attractive walk vest. But it's quite lovely because it's weighted and it's kind of an old-fashioned thing, but apparently some of the hardcore people train with them, like the police force, the military. But the idea is to add a little bit of obviously weight to your walk, and then when you take it off you feel like you're like floating off the ground, but it adds a little bit of endurance, which is always nice, especially on a really flat trail like I'm on. It's such a beautiful morning. I wanted to tell you about what's coming up. This is one that's really near and dear to my heart. This is an interview I did a few weeks ago in Haarlem, Netherlands with Sophie Poldermans. And some of you may remember I interviewed her actually back in 2018. She wrote Seducing and Killing Nazis, about resistance fighters, Dutch resistance fighters who were young girls. And they did a lot of resistance work. They got information to important people, they forged documents, and they found homes for Jewish children. And one of the things that was really helpful is that since they were young women, they could go unnoticed and undiscovered much more easily than if they were men, obviously. So Sophie wrote this book, and I've been following her. And she just published, I'm talking about like a couple weeks ago, a follow-up book, which is much more personal, about these three freedom fighters. Two were sisters and one was a friend. And while I was there, Sophie drove me to the memorial of Hannie Schaft, who was executed 3 weeks before the war ended, at that very spot, actually, on the dunes. And I'm going to do some talking about what that experience was like for me, to actually meet Sophie face to face, and to have her take me to this memorial and these dunes where actually the Nazi tanks were camped out. It was very surreal. It's an out-of-the-way place. And Sophie's love for these women is quite obvious. She's up there a lot. She brings flowers to Hannie's grave, and she feels really deeply connected to these women. So this is a special episode, Sophie Poldermans, and I really hope you enjoy it. Zestful Aging Podcast. See you there.